Let's talk about the math menu. So right here is the math button, and there's a lot of goodies in there. Now, if you have the black and white TI84 or you have a TI83, you're only going to have 4 of these submenus. Okay, but there is the math submenu, and there's a bunch of choices here, and the arrow means there's more choices below, and you can use the down arrow to go find them, or you can just scroll back with the up arrow and get there that way. Doesn't matter. And then there's that submenu and that one and that one and that one, and just all kinds of fun and nifty things. Okay. Now we're not looking at all this, not even close. Just a very few of them. First off, this first option turns things into a fraction, and this turns things into a decimal. So let's quit out of there. So second quit, and see what that looks like. So for example, if I have 97 hundredths, and I say math, option 1, or enter, this means take 0.97 and turn it into a fraction. And so I get 97 hundredths. Well, that's kind of cool. Well, what if I had something like 0.25 and I said, math, turn it into a fraction? It doesn't give me 25 hundredths, it reduces the fraction. So it always reduces the fraction as far as it can go. 97 hundredths does not reduce. That's why nothing happened there. What if I have something like this? I say, oh, I'm doing some calculations like 0.23 plus 0.41. And then I say, oh yeah, I want to turn that into a fraction. Well, I don't have to retype it. I can just go math, enter, and it says, the calculator says, hey, you didn't tell me what to turn into a fraction, so I'll just assume you meant your last answer. And that happens a lot on this calculator. So it's kind of a little shortcut. And then I hit enter, and I get 64 hundredths, reduces to that. Okay. Another way I could have done it, like if I had the 0.64 there, is I could arrow up once. This is not as convenient, but arrow up once to highlight it, hit enter, and now I can edit that all I want to my heart's content. Okay, and you can do that for anything. You can say, hey, I want to go up here and, to things that were off screen, and I'll take that number and I will turn it into a fraction. And this shows that some numbers are sufficiently irrational that the calculator just can't do it. Okay, that happens. Most of the time, it's not going to be a problem, but it does happen. Well, I can also make a fraction and say like alpha y equals enter and say, I want to take this fraction 2/3. Okay. And I want to math option 2, turn it into a decimal. And then that's how you do it. Okay. Of course, fractions are always just division in disguise. You could always just do top divided by bottom like you do on the TI83, and that'll work just fine as well. But a lot of people like to use the little decimal feature. I don't know. I think it makes them feel more powerful or something. And what do all people crave? Power, of course, of course. All right, let's go back to the math menu before I start spouting poetry. Okay, so on the math menu, let me clear this off. On the math menu, another cool feature is option 5. Option 5 is, hey, you can do any root that you want. Okay, so to see that in action, let's go back to the main screen. I did second quit. And if I want to do like the 5th root of 21, I would go 5 on the main screen. Then I would go to math, option 5, and then 21. There's other ways to do it, but this is a nice direct route. And I get that. So if I took this number and raised it to the 5th power, did the opposite of 5th root, then that would give me 21. And it rounds it off because this isn't exactly the 5th root 21. It's an irrational number, but I think you get the idea. So if I want to go 7th root of 16,984, I'd go 7 math 5, 16,984, and I get that. Okay. So that's how to do any old root that you want. Now, the square root is the main one we use, so it has its own little button right here. So if you want to do square root, you can just go second square root and then like 9 or something. Okay. What else do we have on the math menu that we need to look at? Um, well, there's the absolute value function, but we've got a whole slideshow about that later on. I think it's later on. Anyway, so we'll jump off that cliff when we get to it. But for now, those three things, options 1, 2, and 5, those are the main ones that we want to explore in this slideshow. We'll see some other things later. And that is going to do it.